is play disappearing? So to answer that question, I'm going to give you two analogies and ask you just to step back for a second and tell me if this isn't your experience as a teacher. Which child in those pictures is ready to learn to ride a bike? Or in fact, would you push a child down a hill when learning to ride a bike? No. We as a society understand that that is not only cruel, but just developmentally inappropriate. That each child will learn to ride a bike at the right time when they have the skills they need, and that there are steps to learning to ride a bike. In fact, the children need support such as a helmet and ferry wheels and a person alongside them to help them learn to ride the bike. And in fact, that pushing the child down the hill before they're not ready could actually cause harm to the child. So learning ready here means that the child would have coordination and balance. But more than that, they would also have this desire, the motivation to learn to ride, that they would have chosen that they want to get on that bicycle. You can't force the child to do that. And that they would have persistence and they would keep trying even when they fail. Do you hear the playfulness principles at play? Another analogy, which hand in these pictures is ready to learn to write? So on the left, you've got the hand of a 7-year-old, an x-ray of the hand of a 7-year-old. And on the right, you have the hand of a 5-year-old. And they are fundamentally different. Bone structure is different. In fact, even the thumb, you can see in the 7-year-old, there is more rotation or the arch of the hand is developed. And in the 5-year-old, you can see just from the x-ray in 2 dimensions that the hand is still very flat and that the fingers are not as long and elongated as the 7-year-old. They are completely different. And so sitting down a 5-year-old or even younger at tables with worksheets, coloring in books, and pencils is not developmentally appropriate, but rather using fun, imaginative, actively engaging activities to develop the much needed muscles at the right age is the correct and developmentally appropriate way to go. In fact, children need to be able to draw the shapes on your slides now before they can learn to write. Here's another example from occupational therapist Bunty McDougall. She outlines the handwriting wall. You'll see at the bottom that skills like big muscles, gross motor skills, are foundational, as well as the senses being integrated, as well as the visual cortex really being ready. At the top, you've got things like pencil grip, isolated finger movements, in-hand manipulation, muscle strength, muscle endurance, and these are held together on the sides by attention and concentration. So learning to write is very complicated, very complex, that all those little bricks need to be in the correct place in order for children to have those skills at the top. Many teachers will say that children come to school, they can write, they can read, parents think they can even count, but when the actual demands of the classroom are placed on these children, they are not conceptually all in place, that they've actually developed the wrong motor patterns, for example, and this is harmful for children as well. More walls and these bricks are required for skills like cutting and reading as well, even maths. And if some of those foundational skills are not there, chinks will come, the wall will fall over. And so you may be saying, how do we develop these bricks? Well, we do it through play. A term I came across, which really kind of concludes the bicycle example and the handwriting example, is schoolification. It's when we take an academic curriculum that is suitable for grade 1s and we push it down onto younger and younger and younger children to prepare them for grade 1. And the irony is that as we squish out those things that they should be doing, we are doing the exact opposite and actually causing damage. So I don't want to see things like that in the slide now, a worksheet with the letter A on it, or children sitting at a desk with a very, very thin pencil and writing at the ages of 2, 3, 4, and 5. On the surface, it looks fine. It even looks advanced, and it feels safe to teachers and parents. But it results in learning that is not developmentally appropriate, learning where the focus is skewed, and learning that is potentially harmful. In fact, the research shows that there's so much increased anxiety in children today, and frustration, feelings of incompetence, and not even wanting to try. They develop splinter skills and they actually form bad habits and the wrong motor patterns, as I explained with writing earlier. Pushing early reading is even worse. Children who could read before they started school, by third grade, showed high rates of delinquency, they were less helpful, they were more likely to experience emotional problems, they were more stressed, hyperactive, hostile, and aggressive, and they actually grew more slowly in reading. They had less empathy towards their classmates, and this was regardless of gender, race, and socioeconomic status. Well, I think it's because of the opportunity cost of playful learning. So children have the right to play. Look at the delight on this little one's face. And if we know how important it is, then giving attention to it is fundamental. We need to ask ourselves, how do we structure this kind of play in order to achieve the rapid progress that we're looking for?